All right, I just want to welcome all media onto this call for Super Bowl 55 media availability with Coach Bruce Arians. We'll get started. First question will come from Sarah Walsh.
Hi, Bruce. Welcome to Super Bowl week. I know that there are tons of media obligations and you guys aren't on the practice field necessarily today, but we haven't talked to you in a couple days. Can you just give us an update on obviously Antonio and Antoine and Jordan, because I know it's not game time yet, but just sort of where they are and what you hope to be able to see out of them this week?
Yeah, I saw them with the trainers today. Antonio looks a little bit better. Antoine looks a little bit better. Antonio's getting close. He did a little bit Thursday. We'll see how sore he is. Jordan's way too early to tell still.
Next, we'll go to Nick Jacobs.
Bruce, I'm curious for you. What do you remember during your time in Kansas City? What was it you learned from Marty, and kind of what's your favorite memory of your time there?
Oh, man, there's so many. We had a great running back room. Christian Okoye, Barry Word, James Saxon, Todd McNair, Billy Jones, Kenny Gamble. We had some great guys. Herman Hurd early. Just a lot of fun. The Chiefs fan, when we were there, I remember, I think it was Northwest Missouri Braves came down and started to chop, and it caught on fast. And I think that was one of my favorite memories. Probably the biggest memory was my son was 10 years old, and he was a ball boy cleaning laundry, and he carried, back then we had cords, and he carried my cord all the games.
Next, we'll go to Chris Franklin.
Hey, Bruce, you're from the Jersey area. How does it feel to be a Jersey guy that's actually going to be coaching here in the Super Bowl as a head coach now?
It feels great. I was born in Patterson, didn't live there very long, but I then moved back down to Marlton when I was the head coach at Temple for 6 years. So, Jersey's roots. I've got a lot of cousins and aunts and uncles still there, and it's really home.
Next, we'll go to Scott Reynolds.
Hey, Bruce, whether it's Byron, Todd, or Goody, you've got some head coaching candidates on your staff, same at the coordinator level with Larry Foote and others. Because the Bucs have had success getting to the Super Bowl, the head coaching vacancies and coordinator positions around the league have pretty much been filled. It doesn't just affect your guys, but also Kansas City too. How disappointing is that for you, for your player, for your guys? And should the NFL do something about it? I guess the benefit is that the Bucs coaching staff returns intact next year.
Yeah, I think this year they bent the rules a little bit, and they were all able to do Zoom interviews, nothing in person. But they did let them do more than they have in the past. I was really upset that Byron didn't get one because I think he's everything that everybody's supposedly looking for. A quarterback, a play caller, and he's African-American. So, I don't know what else you're looking for. He's a great leader. I think that, I'm throwing Keith Armstrong in the mix too. I think all those guys should be getting interviews for head coaching jobs, and hopefully next year.
Next, we'll go to EJ Smith.
Hey, Bruce, I wanted to ask you about your time at Temple, especially because you have so many Temple people on your staff. What's gone into that, and what are some of your fond memories of the university?
Oh, that's where I got started. Really, I was very, very young. I thought I knew everything, didn't know shit. But great. Peter Lee, of course, was fantastic president to work for. And Gavin White. God bless John Chaney, passed away this week. One of my dear friends, and I probably learned as much coaching, watching him practice. And how he taught his guys than just about anybody I worked with other than Coach Bryant and Coach Sharp. But Temple was very special. After the game, I probably got at least 80 to 100 texts from former Temple players after we beat the Packers. We've got a guy, Greg Liberty, who's just had a lung transplant, and the list of guys on that well-wishing call is amazing. Those guys are so close, that 83 to 88 bunch. And those are great memories. About 15 of them came down here last spring, and then we had a great time.
A reminder to media to please list your outlet along with your first and last name. Next question will come from Mike Jones.
Hey, Coach, can you hear me?
Yeah.
What was that year, that time away from football like for you when you weren't coaching? And How did you get through it? And then when you got that opportunity to get back into it, just what was it like when you returned to the sidelines?
It was great, working for CBS. It was fantastic. Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Melanie Collins, Kenny Mack, and Suzanne Smith were all fantastic people to work with. I did not like to travel. I can tell you that, but I really liked the broadcasting. But I got to go around practice and then see the coaches, see players, talk to them, see how things were run on Friday practices, other than the way I've always seen them run. I was not itching to get back in coaching. This job just happened to everything lined up perfectly, from ownership to general manager, who's a great friend, and we worked together to all my assistants being available. And frankly, I probably wouldn't have taken the job had some of those assistants not been available.
Next, we'll go to Adam Kilgore.
Hello, Bruce. You've already got a couple of questions about the diversity on your staff. I wonder how did your outlook about why that's important develop, and what do you think the Bucs gain as a team as a result of having diverse backgrounds? Whether that's race, age, gender, etc.
Well, I think first thing, a player is going to ask the coach, "How are you going to make me better?" He doesn't really care if the answer comes from a male, a female, black, white, brown, yellow, who. I mean, just help me be better, because we're just glorified school teachers. Best school teachers I ever had were all different races, all different ethnic groups, and male and female. And so if you can teach, you can coach. And as far as the women, it was time. It was time for that door to be knocked down and allow them, because they've been put in time and they're very, very qualified. The ones we have are overly qualified. As far as race, that was not by design. Those are the best coaches I know. And but to hear voices in a staff meeting that aren't the same, don't look alike, but they all have input, you get better output. And for the players, the same thing. Not hearing the same thing over and over, to hear it from different people, different ages, from 27 to 82, and every kind of ethnic group there is. So, and male and female. So I think our players learn from that, and I know I do, and it helps our staff.
Next, we'll go to Adam Beasley.
Bruce, how has your career prepared you for this moment? Obviously, you've been in the biggest stage before, but this is different. How has it prepared you for this moment?
I don't think anything ever prepared us for the pandemic, and this whole season has been different. And the team building things that you do in the off season didn't happen. I have to give all the credit in the world to our players for their commitment to each other, the accountability that they've shown to each other of staying healthy and beating the virus before we can beat any other team. And then the closeness they've got and the accountability to each other to make all their decisions to affect the cause, and the cause is putting rings on our fingers. So this team reminds me a lot of the Super Bowl 40 Steelers. They're very, very close, even during a pandemic when it was hard to get close.
Next, we'll go to Cooper Boardman.
Coach, wanted to ask you individually about Ali Marpet and what has he meant to your offensive line?
Oh, it means the world. I mean, he's one of the top leaders and a great player. He's had a super year. We were very fortunate to have AQ Shipley fill in for him while he was out with a concussion. And then in AQ, we lost AQ. But Ali he's the rock up front, and he's playing at a Pro Bowl level. It was hard for me to believe he did not make the Pro Bowl.
Next, we'll go to Casey Hudson.
Hey, Coach. I just wanted to know the biggest strides that you've seen in your returning players from last season to this season, and the buy-in outside of Tom Brady, kind of, the coaching perspective that you've brought in from all your experience, and how the players have just wanted to work so hard to get you to this point.
Well, I think, the first thing we wanted to do when we came in was stop the losing culture. And the fact that little things mattered and losing was not acceptable. And our team last year got better and better. Going into the offseason, we wanted to keep the defense intact, and Jason did a great job of getting Shaq and Suh back as that young secondary progressed. And then, we put Tom in the mix. But the guys have bought in. They know what accountability means, and that's the only way you can get to this game is being accountable to each other.
Next, we'll go to Jim with the Indianapolis Star.
Hey, Bruce, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thanks. Peyton Manning, I think we all assume he's going to be inducted to the Hall of Fame. Wondering how he maybe helped shape you as a coach.
Yeah, he taught me that if we had an hour's worth of meeting time, I better have 2.5 hours worth of stuff prepared because he was like a piranha. It was great coaching him because he was so used to working nonstop. I had to create drills just so he could practice. He could never sit still during practice. He was used to it. And it was a joy. I mean, I always had a rule that I would never leave the building before a player, if there was a player left. And Thursday nights, he and Kelly Holcomb started meeting late. And I'm like, holy cow, this is the only time I get to take my wife out to dinner. So, hey, I'll be here. Call me if you need me. And it was a joy coaching Peyton. He's a great guy and a hell of a player. And I hope, and I know he's in the Hall of Fame. He's got to be. It's crazy if he's not.
Next, we'll go to Christopher Heidel.
Hi, Coach. Thanks for taking my question. We cover the ACC here in Maryland, and you spent your time in college at Virginia Tech. What was it like playing for Virginia Tech back in the 70s? And did you play with a guy named Mike Burnup?
I sure did. He was tight end. He was a year ahead of me. Great friend of mine. And it was different. It was different. You know, segregation was just getting started at Virginia Tech at then. And we had very, very few minority players, black players. And one happened to be my roommate, James Barber. So it was very different. You know, we were not affiliated in a conference back then. We were Southern Independent. But Tech we had guys from everywhere: Pittsburgh, Philly, New York, North Carolina, Atlanta. We had guys from everywhere at Tech, and I love the Hokies. I'll be a Hokie for life. I won't be anything else for life, but I'll be a damn Hokie for life. I know that.
Next, we'll go to Clarence Hill.
Coach, you've been very, I guess, intentional with your coaching hires and you know, certainly with your diversity on the staff. Does it frustrate you when guys like Byron do not, you know, get an interview and Eric Bieniemy is still, you know, not getting a job? And tell me just the reason behind your intentionality of having a diverse staff.
Well, they're the best coaches I know. It starts with that. And, you know, I was very, very pissed that Byron didn't at least get an interview this year for the job that he's done. I think I get way too much credit, and so does Tom Brady, for the job that Byron has done. And so, yeah, I think hopefully next year, you know, people will see that he took Jameis Winston and broke every single record here, scoring and passing, and now Tom has broken both. So he's done a fantastic job. He's everything supposedly what people are looking for, although this year was kind of a defensive cycle. And you never know with the owners how they're going to go. So, yeah, I'm very, very proud of our staff.
A reminder to media to please list their outlet along with their first and last name. Next, we'll go to Mike Jones.
Coach, who would you say kind of helped really shape and mold your leadership style, the way that you coach and lead teams?
I think two people: Jimmy Sharp, who was my coach at Virginia Tech my last year, who got me started in this business, and Coach Bear Bryant. The last thing he told me when I was going off to Temple, coach them hard and hug them later. And that's been my mantra ever since. And Jimmy taught me how to make his players believe that they're going to win every single game, even though they probably didn't have a chance because we stunk. But we went on the field every time believing we were going to win the game.
Next question will come from Jeff Skaversky.
Hey, Coach, how are you? I'm from ABC in Philadelphia. I'm also a Temple alum, and so I'm doing a story on all your Temple guys. It seems like you have like 8 or 9 guys on your staff. You know, when you go back to your Temple days, just how special, one, is it to be in this opportunity with a lot of guys and players you started with? And also, do you remember the conversation with Todd Bowles when he broke his wrist and you told him he was done playing?
Yeah, that was a very hard day because we're getting ready to play Penn State, and we had some really good coverages in that only Todd Bowles could run. And so that game plan went out the window. And, you know, then I think I told him, hey, I think you need to start thinking about coaching because you'd be a great coach. And I think it pissed him off because he thought he was going to be in the pros, and he was, because Todd Bowles, only he could do it because he is so smart. But the Temple days are still my fondest memories. Beating Pitt is the #1 win in my career. When we beat Pitt for the first time in 45 years, it ranks above the Super Bowl trophies I have in my house. And the players that helped do that, they're lifetime friends. And I wasn't much older than them at the time, so it's hard to see them now being 55, 60 years old.
Next question will come from Michael Phillips.
Hey, what's up? Was talking to Nick Rapone about your guys' time at Virginia Tech, and I was just curious for you, sliding from being a player to then being a coach on the other side of that. What that was like for you, and I guess maybe an interesting transition at that age to go from teammate to more or less authority figure.
Yeah, it was. I was kind of an older guy on that team anyway. Being married all 4 years I was there, and knew most all the guys and where they came from. So. It was easy for me. Jimmy Sharp made it easy. I became a graduate assistant and coached the quarterbacks and helped Nelson Stokely. Charlie Pell was defensive coordinator. He would make me sit there every Thursday night until midnight and tell them how they're going to attack us, because I would run the scout team for his defense. And I was very blessed to be around some great, great coaches, and they allowed me to coach. And the players, I think it was a mutual respect. And, I was also a bartender at their favorite bar, so I could keep my eye on them.
One more, if you don't mind. You have the Virginia Tech record for most rushing touchdowns in a season. Do you think you were overlooked as the original dual threat quarterback at Virginia Tech?
No, because when we're a passing team, I was a running quarterback, and when we were a running team, I was a passing quarterback. But that record, Gerard Evers, I think, broke that, but it took him 14, 15 games. It's an asterisk. I mean, I got it in 11.
Next question will come from Frank Schwab. All right, we'll go to Darren. Oh, okay.
Sorry, but I just wondered if you have had a chance to really reflect on your own journey and being in this spot right now as a head coach in a Super Bowl. You've already talked about 10 spots you were at before here and being retired for a year. Have you had a chance to really reflect on it?
No, I'll take time. It's not time to look in the rearview mirror yet. We're still looking ahead. There'll be time in the spring to look back and reflect, and hopefully we'll have a Lombardi Trophy on the wall to look at and smile.
Next question will come from Scott Reynolds.
Hey, Bruce, just wanted to see how concerned you are about Levante David's hamstring injury, and when did that injury occur?
It happened in the third quarter of the Green Bay game. It was a very slight one, but we've been nursing him. We'll make sure he was running today pretty good, so you'd have to shoot him to get him out of this game.
Next question will come from Adam Teacher.
Hey, Bruce, wanted to ask you about Tyrann, Tyrann Mathieu, who I know you were very familiar with. Have you come across many guys in your time and many defenders in your time as versatile as he is, number one? And number two, is it any more important for Tom to know where he is at the snap than any other Chiefs defender?
No, there's no doubt. There's no doubt, because he could show you that he's a half-field safety, and he's going to go try to pick something off, make a play. That's what I love about him. He's a playmaker. And no, I don't think coming in when he was young and healthy, he was the most dynamic player I'd been around, and a natural-born leader. We had Patrick Peterson and some other guys on that, Gerard Powers, some really good leaders on that team, and he took over. I mean, he was vocal everywhere he's been. Bill O'Brien raves about him. I know Andy raves about him. He's just a great player, and yes, we have to know where he is at every snap. But I would like to say this. I'm more proud of the man he's become than I am. He's a great football player. He's a better man.
Next, we'll go to Darren Urban.
Hey, Bruce, it's good to see you. I'm just curious. You've been so many places in your coaching career, and you've done so many things. When you reflect back on your time in Arizona, what do you think the biggest thing you got out of being the head coach of the Cardinals was?
Oh, so many relationships. What a great organization. I loved all the time I had there. Just I wish I'd have stayed a little healthier, and I wish I'd learned how to delegate maybe a little sooner. But just everything. I think, Michael and Steve and Carson, Larry, Pat, all the guys. I mean, the relationships we built, with everyone out there, the media, everybody. So it's just fond memories. The fans were fantastic. They always supported our foundation. Every time we had an event, they would sell out. I can't thank them enough for that.
Next, we'll go to Tyrann Davenport.
Yeah, good to see you, Coach. You touched a little bit earlier about just, how you have some minority coaches on the staff. But why is that so important to you? And were there any experiences that you've had along the lines to really open your eyes to hiring so many minorities as well as women on your staff?
Well, I think probably because of the fact that I didn't get a shot till I was 60, and Chuck Pagano had to get sick with leukemia for me to even become a head coach. I was a winning Super Bowl offensive coordinator and didn't even get a phone call. So the lack of opportunities, I think, has made me want to give more opportunities to more people. The minorities on our staff are great coaches. They either played for me, played with me. Somewhere along the line, we've been together, and they're great coaches. The women, that was a door that needed to be knocked down, and so happy that the two we have are so overly qualified and doing such a great job.
Next, we'll go to Patrick Finley.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Good.
Good. 2 years ago, tell me about the conversation with Todd Bowles when you were putting the staff together. Was it did you have to sell him, or was it just a family reunion?
No, he had a lot of opportunities. And talked about what we were going to do here, who was coming. He knew it was family, and again, great ownership, great GM. He knew everybody. Great place to live. But again, he had a bunch of opportunities, and I think our relationships from the past had some to do with it.
Next, we'll go to Ben Volen.
Hey, Bruce, congrats on getting here to the Super Bowl. Wanted to ask you about Tom Brady. A lot is made of his training and how he keeps his body in shape, but he's a pretty smart quarterback too. I just was curious your impressions on his brains and how smart he is, and is that what most quarterbacks are like when they get to that age, just because of their experience?
I think he's had it his whole career. Some people have fast twitch, reactionary brains. Peyton, all the great quarterbacks have it, because if you don't have it, you can't be a great quarterback. You're running all over the place. You can't make those split decisions that are the right decisions. And he's always had that. He has sharp hitting that tool to the highest degree. He's an intense worker, unbelievable preparation. So he is a very, very smart quarterback on Sunday because of his preparation.
Next, we'll go to Augustin. All right. Next, we'll go to Jeffrey Arnold.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about the impact of Ndamukong Suh on your defense overall, and not only that, but how he's helped anchor the defensive line, and how he's helped the younger, particularly Vita Vea, in terms of their development as a player?
It's been outstanding. Everything Suh got here, man, he's been a great leader, and he has played lights out for 2 years. This year might have been his best year. But the way he handles himself, he doesn't play at this level without being extremely sensitive to his body and what he puts in it and how he works. I give him certain days off each week, and I look out there at 7:30 in the morning, and he's running gassers, and that's his day off. He's running up and down the field doing all kind of drills. But also his leadership ability has really helped Vita in the fact that Vita was hurt all year, but he got Suh's chef because he watches Suh and how Suh takes care of himself, and he's helped a bunch of our young players on learning how to take care of themselves off the field and how to prepare Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday to be your peak on Sunday, and that's what leadership's all about.
Next, we'll go to Joel D. Smith.
Hey, Coach. I'm from the CBS affiliate in Harrisburg.
Can you give us a little bit about your Central PA roots, how that maybe turned you into the coach you are today?
Oh, definitely. Central PA, as everybody knows, is blue collar. In New York, especially. My dad worked 7 days a week, night shifts, and the work ethic he instilled in our entire family. You go to work, you do the best you can, you keep your head up high. Your name is what you have that you take the most pride in, your family name. And so, yeah, I mean, my dad was my first coach and the best coach I ever had. I wish he could be here. But Central PA, York is home. And we go back as much as we can. Can't wait to get mom and my brothers and sisters all down here for the game. And but we've got so many friends back in York that we played baseball with, basketball, growing up. They're all over the place, but we stay in touch. And it's home. It's roots.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Josh Padilla.
Hey, Coach. Josh Padilla with MTSU Athletics. Just wanted to ask you what you think of the job Mike Caldwell's done for you with the defense and what his future is in this league as a coach.
Mike's done a great job. Did a great job in Arizona with us when he was there, and then in New York. He's a hell of a coach. He should be a coordinator. And I think he and Larry Foote and a couple other guys on defense are coordinators in the waiting. But Mike has done a fantastic. He's really good with his players, and they're super prepared.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
Next, we'll go to Tony Grossi.
Congratulations, Bruce. I'd ask how you're doing, but you're in the Super Bowl with Tom Brady, so I know that answer.
Pretty good, Tony. How you doing?
I'm great. Apologize if this was asked before. I joined only a few moments ago. How do you're the only man to coach Brady and Manning, and on top of that, you've got Andrew Luck, Ben Roethlisberger, Tim Couch in your past. How do you account for that? How does this keep happening to you to coach all these great quarterbacks?
Only take jobs with good quarterbacks, Tony. You know what I mean? I've been very, very lucky. And, getting Tom has been a joy after having Peyton, Ben, Carson, Andrew, Kelly Holcomb. I've been very, very blessed to have a bunch of really good quarterbacks and great human beings, great guys. I mean, love the relationships we have with all of them. I've been very, very lucky, very, very lucky. And, I've been really enjoying the time with Tom.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Cooper Boardman.
Bruce, a lot of questions about Old East and Northeast football. So I'll ask one. What do you remember about playing in the late '80s against guys like Doc McPherson and players like that?
It was, man, what a good time those were. I mean, Pitt was loaded with Freilich and all those guys that they had. McPherson up at Syracuse, Ruth at Boston College, Flutie, just on and on. Richie Gannon beat us at Delaware. It was great times. Great times. We did so many things different. Mike Fetchko was an unbelievable guy who handled our radio and television, and we played some Friday nights like we used to at Temple. But those BYU games were awesome. Paul Palmer, leading the nation in rushing, coming second for the Heisman. John Reinstra being a first-team All-American. So we had a great time, and the football was outstanding.
A reminder to media to please raise your hand if you have a question. Next, we'll go to Lou with the States paper.
Bruce, what is Harold Goodwin meant for you on your coaching staff, and what does he bring to the table?
It means everything. I wouldn't even take the job if Harold wasn't available. We've been together a long time, and he does our running game, our protections. He's the rock on the offensive staff, and does a fantastic job with the offensive line. And again, he's another guy that, for me, should be in the head coaching interview room because he's a great leader of men. People get caught up with play callers and miss the fact that some people are just really good leaders of men. And Goody, Pittsburgh, Indy, Arizona, we've been together a long time now, and I wouldn't do it without him.
Next, we'll go to Anton with Sport Denmark.
Coach, if you were to explain to me what the bread and butter is of the Buccaneers offense, what would that be?
It's a play called 22 double. It's with two double teams and hand it off between the tackles. And, that's where we start every year with that play. And then we use a lot of play action off of it. But to run the football and use play action and be very, very multiple.
Next question will come from Karita Parks.
Hi, Coach. I vaguely remember a story where you were interviewing for a job and you wanted Todd Bowles as your defensive coordinator, and they wanted you to go another direction. So ultimately, you didn't get that job. When you look at where you are now, can you just talk about your commitment to Todd and why you wanted him on your staff?
Because he's a great coach. I knew he was a great coach. I know the job you're talking about, and I think they wish they'd hired him now. But it was just going to be a matter of time before he became a head coach. And I think he should be a head coach again because he learned so much and he's more than ready now to do it again. And but we wouldn't be here without Todd, that's for sure.
Next, we'll go to Rob Rose.
Hey, Bruce. Rob Rose here with the York Dispatch in York, PA. I know you mentioned you don't have time to reflect now, but if you could go back to think you graduated from York High to tell that kid that 50 years later he's going to be head coach of the Super Bowl, would you ever think that was a possibility?
No, not at all. Not at all. I knew I wanted to coach. I knew I wanted to teach. And I knew I wanted to coach. But those things, I go back and I want to thank Terry Buck at West York for not hiring me in 1974, because I would have probably left and not played my fifth year at Virginia Tech and went coaching at West York Junior High. But thank God he didn't hire me, because I went back and started my coaching career at Virginia Tech, and here we are. But crazy things happen, and in the coaching business, and that was one of them. But I love Terry Buck to death.
If I could just ask one other follow-up. I know you mentioned your dad and the work ethic of Central PA. Other than that, not getting that coaching job, is there another experience growing up playing football or in high school that kind of developed a passion and love for football and eventually coaching that's led you to where you are now?
Yeah, I was very, very lucky. I didn't realize, when we were young, everybody I looked up to was named Coach. I didn't realize it was somebody's dad giving up their time to coach a little league team. Coach Crook and everybody else that gave up their time to coach us back then. Paul Borsche did a great job of instilling things in me in high school. Charlie Robinson, baseball, just taking care of us and teaching us great lessons in life. But I was very, very fortunate, to Tom Kesey and Tom Kurtz at St. Mary's, and people that just help mold us as we take a little bit of each and every one of those people and move on from it.
A reminder to media to please raise your hand if you have a question. Next, we'll go to Jeff Fadden.
Coach, your first NFL job was with the Chiefs. Can you talk about what you learned coaching with this organization?
It was the first thing I learned, a first-class organization. Lamar Hutton might have been the greatest man that I've ever worked for. The Glaziers are fantastic, but Lamar was very, very special. And being a part of that organization, I grew up a Baltimore Colt fan, so when I put that blue horseshoe on for Jim Irsay, that was like the ultimate. But wearing that arrowhead for Kansas City is right next to it. Great place to live, and just the organization. Carl Peterson was fantastic. I still look forward to seeing Carl every time I get a chance to see him, and have love for the Chiefs. And my son and I had some great maturing moments together. Him being a ball boy at the Chiefs up in River Falls, and just coaching with a great coaching staff: Bill Cowher, Tony Dungy, Joe Pendry, Howard Mudd. What a great staff we had.
And Coach, one follow-up there. It's kind of interesting. So many think of you as the quarterback guru and in the deep ball, the passing attack, but you were a running back coach there for a Marty Ball team. I mean, what did you learn about maybe the running game and maybe that your coaching perception is a little bit different than who you really are for scheme-wise?
No, actually, I was a wishbone quarterback, so I love running the football. And I love hard play action, and we did a great job. Steve DeBerg did a great job. I used some of his tapes later on in life to teach other quarterbacks how to do ball handling. But Christian Okoye, Joe Pendry and Howard Mudd were two great coaches. And I learned so much football there in offensive football that it's really, really hard to say I learned any more other than Tom Moore in Indianapolis. That was the place I learned the most.
Next, we'll go to Augustin.
Hi, Coach. Can you hear me?
Yes.
How are you doing? Agustin Esposito from Now Huddle in Argentina.
Let's hear you.
My question is, you have a team that I think is perfectly balanced in experience. You have young guys like Dane White, like Tristan Wirfs, but also you have the experience of Brady and JPP. Does that help the team to win, not only during the regular season, but also in playoff?
Oh, there's no doubt. No doubt. It's a great mix of young and old. The young guys have veterans that have been there and done it. They can lean on them. The guys you mentioned have all won Super Bowls. And so they have great resources to come to the locker room and ask questions that they're afraid to ask a coach. You know, they'll ask Tom, they'll ask JPP, they'll ask Gronk. So yeah, it's a fantastic mix, and we really look forward to this game in the future.
Next question will come from Ben Gessling.
Yeah, Bruce, just wanted to ask you, how do you feel like the offense in the time that you've had to work with Tom this year has evolved the most, just in the partnership that you guys have had?
Yeah, it's still evolving. I mean, each and every week we collaborate, and you know, Byron does such a fantastic job of running this show, and he and Tom have just blended so well, you know. And it was September, we scratched out a game or two, really had no clue what we were doing. October got a little bit better, and then after the bye week, I think things started to click, and everybody got comfortable with each other, because Chris was hurt for a while, Mike was hurt for a while, or played hurt. Antonio came in, Scotty was beat up for a while. So it was just a matter of all those pieces getting together, taking some time to gel, but our defense carried us through some of those ball games so that we're here now. And now we're playing pretty well offensively.
Next, we'll go to Yo Takashi.
Okay, so first Super Bowl at the age of 68 years, and you have a chance to be the first head coach with the home field advantage. So how grateful are you?
Oh, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And yeah, this is the most rewarding year I've had in coaching, probably because of the pandemic and everything that we've had to deal with, watching this team grow, get better and better, and then gel for the playoffs. It's been a fantastic year. I'm very, very thankful.
Thank you.
All right, media, if you have any questions for Coach BA, now is the time to ask them. We'll have him here till 12:45, so you have about 5 more minutes. All right, we'll go to Nick Hamilton.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on making the Super Bowl.
Thanks, Nick.
I wanted to get your thoughts on, obviously every year is a new year for you. You have a new vision, new plays, things of that nature. What has been your vision from the time that you started this season to where it is now? Do you feel like it's come to fruition as far as how you envision this offense and defense playing on all cylinders?
Yes, it really is. You know, in our first meeting, we set our goals and what we expected. But we knew the team was going to evolve and grow without the OTAs and training camp and preseason. But basically, we looked over. I said, look over at that stadium, because they're going to play the Super Bowl in that stadium. Either you're dressing in your lockers or somebody's dressing in your locker. All right, make sure it's you, and then put it to bed, and then watch this team grow and grow and grow and start to get cohesive. and really, really play our best ball in the playoffs. So it's been very, very rewarding.
Next question will come from Joey Knight.
Coach, hope no one's asked you this already. What's the biggest thing you learned from John Chaney?
Oh, man. Be yourself. Don't be afraid to tell the truth, no matter how ugly it comes out. And it's coaching, not criticism. And John was, man, the world just lost a great, great human being. Great coach, but an even better human being.
Next, we'll go to Rick Stroud.
Coach, can you hear me?
Yeah, Rick.
Hey, I'm just wondering, this is a Super Bowl like no other, right? But if you're Tom Brady or you're one of your players waking up in your own bed, eating your own food, working out at your facility, knowing the stadium, I mean, how much different is that? You played in you've coached in Super Bowl here before. I mean, what kind of an advantage or disadvantage was it like?
Well, I think last week was normal. This week, you would have gotten on the plane. I'm thinking back at Super Bowl 43. At the hotel, busting up the USF, doing all that stuff, and the mass of media and mass of fans every single day. That's not going to happen this week. So it's unlike any other. So in that regard, I think it's been great for our guys to be able to just come to our facility every single day, look across the street, knowing they're going to play. It's going to look different. The locker room would look different, everything, but it's our locker room, and. Right. So I think it's been great for our guys, and it will be great for our guys. I just wish it was packed.
Yeah. Thanks, Coach.
Next question will come from Ed Graney.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, you were pretty straightforward when Antonio came aboard about expectations, what you expected him, what the team expected him. Can you take me through that thought process of going down that road of what happened and how he has done in your mind since obviously you signed him?
Yeah, I mean, you look back and Mike Evans was injured. Chris was injured with a concussion. Tyler was hurt earlier in camp. So it was a point where his suspension was going to be over. And it was like, we needed some depth. We needed some insurance. And I talked to Antonio. He was all in. And he has been nothing but great ever since he's been here. Been fantastic, works his tail off. Wants to win. There's nothing other than on his mind and winning. And he's been a joy to coach.
Thank you.
We have time for a couple more. Next, we'll go to Grace Remington.
Hey, Coach. I have two questions. First, the one constant in the last two Tampa Super Bowls, you were coaching in, or are coaching in both of them. What do you remember from the last one? And then with the preparations with COVID for this one, I know you can't require anyone to go in hotels to make a little bubble, but do you know of any coaches or players doing that?
The answer to the first one, yeah, it was very, very special. I mean, watching Larry Fitzgerald run down that field at the end, it's like, oh, so just a calmness of our guys on the sideline, Ben, Max Starks, all those guys. And, said we're built for this. And that drive was just amazing because people didn't realize Hines was on one leg. Nate Washington had separated his shoulder. There were only two healthy receivers out there, Heath Miller and Santonio Holmes. And Ben just did an unbelievable job. And what a great throw to Tone and a great catch to win that game. And then the celebration. What was the second question?
Yeah, I asked, do you know of any players or coaches who decided to check out a hotel room to quarantine?
No, because, when you look back at the season, the teams that did some of that, that's when there were major outbreaks. Our guys have been safe where they've been. We've been very, 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 very diligent about if anyone comes in to have them tested every day. If their family is actually staying with them, to be tested every single day, and so that we don't bring it in. So no, it's safer to be at home and doing the things you've done this entire season than rather than go to a hotel and then it only takes one guy to knock out everybody.
Our last question will be a kid interview from Amaya Brannon.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Good. So my question for you is, when you're stressed, what strategy do you use?
When I'm stressed, I try to work out and give my body some rest or make it think about something else. Running in the pool, I have knee replacement, so I have to run in a pool and get as much exercise as I can to get my mind off that stress and find an answer. Why are you stressed? And then fix it. And people talk about pressure. You never have pressure if you're prepared for what's going on, and stay prepared, and you get rid of that stress.
All right, that's all we have time for. Appreciate you taking time, Coach.
Thank you, guys.